We talked about fragmenting the vote in terms of having these different parties fighting with each other on the right side of politics. Some suggestion has been about bringing Boris back. Finally, let's just have your views on that.
I would not bring Boris back in a month of Sundays. He's a great guy to have a drink with in a bar, I'm sure, but he did a lot of damage as Prime Minister.
Okay, so what would unite the right if that's the right thing to do?
There's no such thing as the right. It's a misconception, frankly. I mean, the real debate, the real schism in politics is between those of us who actually believe in the United Kingdom, want it governed domestically with British interests and British people's interests being put first, and those like Keir Starmer and the vast majority of parliamentarians who see some kind of liberal global order associations with the EU, the International Court of Justice, the UN, as being of greater importance, and domestic quangos, experts, bureaucrats. They vest their hopes in these individuals, which is fundamentally anti-democratic and anti-British because it strips power away from Parliament. I want Parliament to be vested with the authority with which then we can hold them responsible. Because if they've got the authority, then we can hold them responsible. If they don't have the authority, then we're disarmed and we just have to think, oh goodness, that was international law that defeated it. Oh, that was a domestic quango that said we couldn't do this. Oh, the expert said this, that, and the other, so we can't do the right thing for the UK. No, I want all the power back in Parliament, and so when they screw up, we can actually hold them to account and say, well, you screwed up.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to hold people to account. But just to
Yeah.
deal finally with that point about fragmenting the vote, people who might be minded to vote Conservative or might be minded to vote whatever you call your new party or might be minded to vote Reform, clearly that vote is every single one of those is one which would be against Labour. So why wouldn't you want to unite the right?
Okay, I mean, you refer to it as the right again. Farage, for example, is today, I think, right now, as we're speaking, lifting in his, it would be disclosing a policy for Reform UK, which would lift the restriction on just having benefits for people with two children. I mean, I think that's fundamentally economically illiterate, and I couldn't possibly support that. He's also prepared to consider the repatriation of Shamima Begum. I find that abhorrent. He also has declared that he's not in favor of deporting everyone that entered the country illegally, which I think fundamentally undermines any prospect of deterring people from coming to the UK. Because unless you're prepared to deport everyone that's here illegally, you send a message that actually, if you slip through, you might just stand a chance of staying. And then many other things that Farage has said and done that I think make him. Frankly, a false hope, as I mentioned. I think Elon Musk sees that as well. And the Conservative Party, well, the Conservative Party is the Conservative Party, and they're basically still Liberal Democrats. I haven't seen anything out of the Conservative Party to indicate that they have rediscovered their conservative DNA. I was hoping that they would. Frankly, Andrew, I don't really care who does what's required to be done, whether it's Farage and Reform, or whether it's Kemi Badenoch and the Tories, or whether it's us in this new party that's launched. I don't care who does it. I would rather Farage and Kemi Badenoch did it because then I could go back to my normal life. But they clearly are not going to do it. That's what I see. I see real issues with Farage. For the reasons just explained, and I see real issues with the Conservatives. And it's not a matter of uniting them. We've got to have a political force that is actually going to deliver for the country. We've got to have an agenda that is sensible. We've got to lead with a narrative, lead with an ideology, and see if we can carry the British people to that position. Farage is all over the place. He's all over the place. He talks about the need to be an independent sovereign country, and at the same time, he's prepared to take Shamima Begum back. How does that figure? He won't talk about Northern Ireland. Sorry, he won't back for Northern Ireland. He won't. How can if he can't even define what the United Kingdom is, how can he be the answer? How can he be the Messiah that's going to save us?
No, I understand that, and I know you're resisting the thing about uniting the right because that is just a label, but it's an alternative to Labour. That's the point. And if people got a choice about three different alternatives, that's going to fragment the vote. So how do
But
they
the
get over
reason
this? What's the solution?
But one of the reasons we're in the trouble we're in is because people have always said, "Oh, vote Conservative because otherwise you get Labour and it's awful." No, there's got to be a reason to vote for a political party, a positive reason.